Hey guys, today I'll be doing a full review for the Virgin Mobile All. This is a follow-up video for my unboxing, so if you haven't checked that out, please do so. Alright, let's get started. This phone runs on Android 4.1.2. While it's not the newest version, just about every app should be compatible. On the CPU side, it has a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro Plus dual-core processor running at 1.2 GHz paired with an Adreno 305 GPU. Keep in mind, this is the same GPU in the Moto G. 1 GB of RAM, 4 GB of internal memory, does support SD cards up to 32 GB. It is really easy to move the apps to the SD card, no need to root and no need to download third-party apps. Bluetooth 4.0, a 4-inch IPS LCD display, 5-megapixel camera on the back, and 1.2-megapixel camera on the front. This phone runs a mostly stock version of Android with very few modifications, one of them being the lock screen, which can get a bit annoying because it's more natural to swipe to unlock. One of the other modifications ZTE made was the long press home button, which gives you the option to jump straight into Google Now or remove all of your recent apps. With virtually no bloatware, this phone lags very little and is pleasant to use on a daily basis. These are some sample pictures and video I was able to obtain using the 5-megapixel camera on the back. Under the right conditions and proper lighting, this camera can perform fairly well. Even though the battery on this phone only has a capacity for 1650 milliamps, it's able to provide enough battery life for all-day use, even with Wi-Fi on. With the dual-core processor from Qualcomm, this phone does really well at benchmarks, scoring almost 14,000 on N800. Will run a quadrant. As we can see here, it actually scores higher than the HTC One X, with a total score just under 5,000. Let's see how well it can handle a more graphic-intensive game. Matchmaking was pretty well. Keep in mind I am connected to Wi-Fi at the moment. Well, it runs it pretty well. Some of the good things about this phone, it has great battery life. You're able to move your apps to the SD card really easily. Performance is great. Even though it does feel a little bit cheap, it feels durable, and the back has a nice texture to it, gives it a good grip in your hand. Some of the problems I ran into with this phone was its native email client. It just wouldn't sync up. The lock screen again was one of the other problems. The charging spot is in an awkward position. If you're left-handed and trying to use the phone at the same time, it's virtually impossible. With it being so light, that's what gives it its cheap feeling. Despite all that, I would definitely recommend this phone if you can find it for a good price, maybe around $60 or lower. It's definitely one of the top budget phones out there. Despite all that, I would definitely recommend this phone if you're in the market for something you don't mind getting scuffed up and scratched, but still expect great performance out of it.